I think Arteta has all the ingredients to reach that what Wenger achieved in terms of trophies and surpass it. Arsenal have unveiled an Arsene Wenger statue. Yeah, the big man himself, 22 years at the club, over I think it's 1,200 games in charge.
Crazy.
You know, the guy that brought us our first Premier League titles, if you know, for those that count from the Premier League years, 3 Premier League titles, I think 6 or 7 FA Cups. He's been immortalized, as they say, outside the stadium. Fantastic statue, well deserved. Some will say that he stayed longer than he should have, overstayed his welcome. I guess we know some of the politics behind that, and of course the stubbornness of the man that was Arsene Wenger at times. But firstly, just on Arsene Wenger, Paul, like, what do you think this will mean to him, and just in terms of Arsenal continuously building up history, like, just what does this mean, and what does he mean to us as an Arsenal manager, Arsenal great?
Bro, Wenger, bro, you know what, like, he's all we've really known. After that's all we've known. Like, we've been supporting since, like, the 90s, the late 90s, we'd say, maybe middle late 90s. So that is all we've known. The players that he brought in, the style of football, it's probably even, the players that were there have shaped the way we play football, the way we see football and things like that. So he's shaped my whole childhood coming up, in terms of how I saw the game, how I like to watch football. And just, and it's crazy, because it's more than just, obviously Arsenal being a fan. It's just, how I even see football, the type of players that I'm drawn to and things like that, is all him, and the players, obviously. So he's massive. Obviously it's quite unfortunate with the way things turned out. He was kind of hounded out, and at the same time his stubbornness and the shape of the club, as you mentioned previously, didn't help things. But it's one of them ones where it's like, he needed to be gone for you, or for us to really miss him. I think people were saying, right from the off, he needs this, he needs a stand, all this stuff. Or even some people I heard, saying that, why are we giving statues to people who are still alive? And I think it's just really a bit morbid to say that we can only celebrate people when they're dead. You know what I mean? So I think it's been well overdue. I think that space, and especially because we're in a good place. We couldn't run this when Emery was there. I think we still needed a bit more time, but we're doing well, and now it's a good time. If we were doing bad and then all of a sudden, we're bringing a Wenger statue, everyone would be like, you bringing, use it to buy some players. Use the money, and all that stuff. But we're in a good place right now. We're on the up again. We're hoping to bring some more Premier Leagues in the near future, God willing. So it's a brilliant time to really look back on his work and appreciate everything that he did for the club. It's just, I love the guy, Papa Wengs, you know what I mean? So man, it's well deserved. I heard he's coming for the Monaco game as well, so see the statue and get a bit of appreciation and all that sort of stuff. So because I think they're officially unveiling it on Tuesday or so. And the Monaco game is what, Wednesday, innit? Wednesday, so that makes sense. My question today is, could Mikel Arteta, could he be the next Wenger? And I asked that in a sense of, like I said, I rang off Wenger's accolades, 3 Premier Leagues, 6 or 7 FA Cups. Okay, Arteta is nowhere near that right now. He's got, one FA Cup. It will take him probably the best part of about 5 years to just match those accolades, if he won them as of, this season and going forward. 5 years just to kind of catch Wenger at best. But I'm talking more about the influence on the club. Like you rightly said, all the influences that Wenger had on the club. He was the manager, which was a lot more common back in the 90s, early 2000s, that this person in charge here is the manager's more than just the first team players. We've more or less in
move to a thing where everyone's a coach now, and if you're special at your job, then you become the manager, which Mikel became. But he was hired as the first team coach as well. Do you think Mikel Arteta could be the next Wenger, catch up to these achievements, maybe eclipse Arsene Wenger as the greatest Arsenal manager of all time?
It's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be a lot, because I think Arteta definitely stands out in the world of football managers, but obviously not in terms of accolades just yet. But he's got the charisma. I think he's got the ideas. He's got the personality. In terms of, you know, being a good manager, being like, you know, a renowned manager, I definitely see that happening, you know. And at Arsenal, I feel like, as this is his first role, I feel like he's going to want to the best of his ability, clock the game, you know, get all the big trophies. He wants a Prem. He's got an FA Cup. He wants a Champions League. You know, he wants to assert his dominance. I feel like he's the kind of guy he doesn't want to give up. He won't want to be similar to Wenger in the sense where he won't want to just leave after a while. And I don't think anyone's going to push him out anyway. I don't know. I feel like Wenger kind of changed the game in a sense. I know you get some haters that say, oh, people were eating different food before Wenger came, and people were playing certain ways in Italy and Spain and the Dutch league and stuff. But in terms of what we saw here, he revolutionized the game in Arsenal fans' opinion. I don't know if Arteta will do that per se, and I don't think there's the opportunity for that because there's so much elaborate thought in the way football is played these days. So I don't know if we'll get that, but I definitely feel in terms of accolades, there's nothing stopping him. There's nothing, no Arsenal fan is going to ask for him to leave. The manager market is not amazing at the moment. There's only a couple ones that I would want. And right now it seems like younger managers are the kind of in thing. The only sort of manager I could probably look towards is maybe a De Zerbi type character, who looks like he may be on the up. So yeah, I think he could. I'm not saying he will or that he definitely will, but I definitely think he's got the minerals to achieve that sort of haul. You know, I definitely feel he could get 3 Premier Leagues. I mean, Pep's been here, 7, maybe 8 seasons now, and he's got 5. I know Pep's a different kettle of fish. I'm not comparing, but in terms of it's not unrealistic to say he can go there and match it, or at least get close and become one of the great Arsenal managers. Because to be honest, he gets a Prem, he's already written in Arsenal history.
Yep.
I mean, it's that easy. Not that easy. I mean, it would be that simple.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So what do you think? Because I mean, yeah, I never would have thought it with a player like Arteta, but when you actually look back to where the way he left, the way he felt about the club, his last interview and all that stuff, even his interview when he joined, you can tell that this guy proper rated Arsenal, and it didn't seem apparent to me at the time. So I think he's got the love for us to do it.
Yeah. And again, that love comes from obviously what he would have seen with someone like Wenger at the helm and how the club is run and all of that stuff. We've seen obviously with all the new players that have just come in the door, family club, and you know, setting the standards and the morals from day one. I think Arteta has all the ingredients to reach that you know what Wenger achieved in terms of trophies and surpass it. I think he has all the ingredients. I think. It's funny because I was thinking the other day when all this trophy stuff happened, I was in my feelings. I was thinking, man, Wenger, like you said, this was our father. Like this is what we came into the game. Like you know, depending how age-wise and you know where we're kids born in the 90s, you know, and when you tuned into Arsenal, I remember the short stint of what's his name, George Graham. And then I can't remember the man that they brought in between George Graham and Wenger. But my dad was a big Arsenal fan, so I just remember George Graham being, you know, rabbited on in the house. I don't even think I started watching Arsenal them times, but I just remember the name. And then obviously Wenger came in, unknown, like pretty much like, you know, my man Arteta, and he's come in and revolutionized English football somewhat. Different times. I was thinking the other day, what would Wenger sign an 100 million player? Like obviously Wenger never had the funds like that in it. Like if he did, it doesn't really seem like he's styly in it to do something like that. So it's different times that you know, different kind of eras we're comparing here. But I feel like Arteta he already has lifted this club and changed the direction and the fortunes of this club. So I can't see why, you know, once it's that first Premier League, I feel like obviously if we had done it last season, like this would feel so much different coming into the season.
Oh, 100.
Its own pressures because you have to now defend it. But yeah, I definitely think Arteta has what it takes, and he has the resources around him to support that as well. He could pretty much be, you know, and I hope people don't find this blasphemous, but he could pretty much be the Wenger of like this next era, this generation of football for Arsenal.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's too far-fetched. I know it's very early doors, so, you know, people won't see that, but I'm sure when Wenger first started, he weren't particularly, you know, like you said, he came in a nobody. You know, at least with Arteta, we heard he's Pep's, you know, right-hand man, so there's a little bit of like prestige about him, you know, but with Wenger, there was nothing really. And now look what he means to us now. So, you know, let's not write off the possibility of what we see now. And it might not be that, and it could be that. I don't want him to stay for 22 years. I don't think we need that again. But he could do a very healthy stint.
What if it's filled with success? 22 years and we win say 15 Premier Leagues in 22 years.
15? I'm here for it still. You let him stay for another 22. One-man club, innit? Yeah, no, of course. I mean, I say that in the sense that, like, you know, good things must come to an end, kind of flex. But yeah, I mean, if the success is flowing, then they're going to keep like, why would you, unless another club comes in for him? And really and truly, the only thing that worries me is that and that's why I'm happy we're on the good trajectory, is that if we were still middle of the road, 8th, 7th, 6th, when Pep busts out, I can see Arteta's eyes shining that way. You know what I mean? And even with Barca, I thought maybe he'd want to manage Barca at some point, but he would. But I think right now, again, I think his sole focus is Arsenal, and he wants success here. And again, I think those sort of jobs would kind of be like when the moment comes, rather than, oh, you know what, like, I'll jump ship. I don't think he's that type of guy, but I think it helps anyway that we're very successful, and more so we're kind of waiting for the Pep era to finally go away so someone else can come, and hopefully that man is Arteta.
Yeah. And yeah, before anyone gets it twisted, we're not here trying to compare the two. Wenger is, of
course not, Wenger's
that kind of stuff. We're not looking for the next Wenger, but there are a lot of similarities between the two. And like I said, I just think he has all the ingredients to be, you know, a manager of that kind of stature for the club. Like I say, more so off the pitch as well. I think Arteta has everything it takes.